What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Wednesday, 6 o'clock Kingdom time. You know what that means. It's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. It's your boys, Scott, Nick, Bo there on the bottom. If you found your way to the show and you haven't already clicked that like and subscribe button, go ahead and click those for us. Feel free to turn on notifications so you'll know when we go live. I'm not sure. I put out a post there, and we're going to try and do some off-season content. Don't know if we'll do the weekly shows or not, but really enjoyed doing this year. And if you want to, like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for us. Does us a world of good. Doesn't cost nothing. It's quick and painless, so we'd really appreciate it. Help spread the word about the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. It was like kind of a snooze fest for a really close game. It was weird. Like I kept watching the game thinking like this should be more entertaining and more exciting than it is. I don't know. We'll get into that. And we'll talk about maybe what we expect the Chiefs to do here in the offseason, some moves they might make, and look ahead to next season. It's probably too early because roster is going to change between now and week one so much, but kind of scope out the opposition, the competition coming up next year. Chiefs opponents, we don't have the schedule yet, but we know who they're going to play home and away. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Fellas, how are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I think I've had my mourning period from the AFC Championship game, and now the season's over. Feels like a lost opportunity, especially when you watch that Super Bowl. And I don't know what your guys' thoughts were, but I just sat there the whole time thinking the Chiefs were better than both of these freaking teams that are in this game. And I think that added to kind of the general sense of malaise I had when I was watching the game. But I do agree with you. It didn't really feel like a Super Bowl. It didn't really feel like a Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know. It was weird. I saw some other people talking about it online, but maybe it's just because, the Chiefs have been in it the last couple of years. And when your team is in it, like hype level goes up like, an order of magnitude. So maybe it's that. Yeah, no, I'm good. How are you, Bo?
Dude, I'm doing great. I echo your guys' sentiments, though. I kind of checked out when Tyreek Hill dropped that pass in the championship game, and haven't really watched much football or highlights or anything. I did watch the Super Bowl, but I went fishing, kind of got my mental clarity back here, and went snowboarding this past weekend. So I'm
back. Pulled Eli Apple and you just checked out of everything for a little bit.
Oh, I saw him, dude. He's up here in the mountains, the Pacific Northwest. He's hanging out with Sasquatch, dude.
That's weird.
But no, yeah. Super Bowl, yeah, man. It was a snooze fest. I know I kind of half paid attention to it. I was kind of bitter, just like, the Chiefs should be in here. The Chiefs should be in here. But hats off to Matt Stafford for getting one, though, dude. Yeah. I mean, that's good for him. I have a buddy that's a Lions fan, so I sent him a meme that it's the Lions banner in their stadium. It says, "Our old quarterback won a Super Bowl," and it has the year end. So, but we could talk more.
Yeah. I tweeted out on Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter there the Detroit Rams shirts they were selling at the mall or whatever it was. That was some of the funniest shit I ever saw. I was dying laughing when I saw that. I'd kind of like to get one, honestly. It was just so funny. It was like well done too. It looked like quality, like someone had taken some time to put the Rams logo head on the lion body, and they had the blue and the white, and God, it was so that was good. But yeah, just I don't know. The Super Bowl was just neither team was really doing much, and I don't even want to say it was like a defensive battle because I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It's just it was boring.
There was even some big plays, but the big plays just didn't feel big. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean. There was the one big pass to Burrow or to Higgins for the 75-yard touchdown, I think it was, right to start the second half. But that was because of a penalty. Shocker. Yeah. I know everybody's amazed.
Call.
That,
since
not on the Bengals.
Call, no way.
I've never seen the Bengals get away with OPI.
A Cincinnati Bengals player got to take a defender and throw him to the ground by the face mask. I don't. So, but other than that, I can't even really recall any big plays. That last drive, Cooper Kupp had some nice plays, but it was just boring. Like I kept thinking like, man, I should be more excited about this game. And I don't know if it was because I was still a little pissed the Chiefs were, not in it, obviously. But it looked like two teams that maybe that should have been like a divisional round playoff game or something. I don't know. It just didn't have the feel. And they had the weird shit at the beginning with The Rock out there trying to pump up like he was like part of the game or something. That was lame, I thought. I don't know. It just nothing really stood out, and I just watched it, and it was kind of over, and I was excited. I shouldn't say excited. That's not the right word to use. I was happy the Rams won. Like you said, Bo, Matthew Stafford, I feel like that guy, he got drafted by a Lions team that went 0-16 and managed somehow to get them to the playoffs 3 times. And you had all these people like, oh, he throws all these meaningless yards and stats, and all he does is pad his stats and losses. But, like, the dude played on the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you can drag the Lions to the playoffs 3 times, you're doing pretty damn good. That's just – is there a more inept franchise than the Lions?
There's a joke going around right now on Twitter and all the social medias that the last place team of the NFL should play the first place team of the CFL, and the winner of that gets, first draft.
Oh yeah, like the don't they do that in some of the Premier Leagues?
Yeah, I think so.
They do like relegation where, if you finish at the bottom X amount of times, where they boot your ass out and they move up another team. But, we don't have other leagues to really move people up. I mean, I guess if you did the CFL or something, but
I think that's a great idea.
I just don't know that there's a franchise worse than the Lions. I can't think of any. Can you? Either of you guys? Maybe.
I mean, right now the Jets, maybe, but like not like historically bad, but like
not historically. I mean, the Bengals had been. They hadn't won a playoff game for 31 years, right?
Yeah, they were just in the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. It would have been the Bengals, but
yeah.
I mean, that's about the only comp I have. The
Browns have been really bad for a long time, and but they at least won a playoff game here, and they were a game away from an AFC championship, when they lost to the Chiefs a couple seasons ago. So,
dude, but like to what you're saying though, so Stafford leaves that terrible team. He goes to the Rams. They go all in, like giving away draft picks for the next, X amount of years. They get all these superstars in, and it works. How many copycats? I mean, this is the copycat league. How many teams do you think we see do this in the next year or 2 years?
It's a really interesting strategy. I've always felt that teams and fans value draft picks more than they should. If you've ever played Dynasty League fantasy football, you don't have the salary cap and you don't have to field 53-man roster, right? So I'm not trying to say that it's like running a franchise at all. But the number of misses and just the sheer amount of players that get drafted and how few of them actually even turn into average NFL players, let alone Pro Bowlers, All Pros, I've always thought that teams and fans overvalue draft picks. You saw us. The Chiefs haven't had a first-round pick for 3 seasons now. They've had 4 straight AFC Championship games at home and went to 2 Super Bowls. So the whole draft pick thing is overrated. If you can trade some draft picks for proven commodities, I don't think it's necessarily a bad strategy. You got to be right, and you can't miss, and you got to be able to get the filler guys there in the later rounds.
But man, what they shot and hit the bullseye. You know what I mean?
They did.
Yeah, and we've seen teams attempt to do the same thing and fail. It was what did Andy Reid in Philadelphia. They tried to build that super team. They went heavy free agency, I think it was, and it just didn't work out, didn't pan out. So I think that it's just one of those things, and I think we talked about it on a previous episode too. It's like they've got to do it now, or else like they're fucked basically, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know that. I was really surprised to hear them talk about Aaron Donald is thinking about retiring. Like that dude's in his prime still.
Dude, so I've heard a bunch of chatter about McVay retiring too.
I hadn't heard that.
It's on Pro Football Talk. It's on ESPN. Yeah, yeah. He's his response is "We'll see." Right? That's McVay's response is "We'll see." Like they asked him, like,
Is he like 38 or something?
Yeah, dude, he's
younger than I am.
Ever. Like
he's my age. I don't know. I already won a Super Bowl. I mean, what else?
What else is there to do? But like, yeah, no, like it's some serious. I mean, it's chatter. Football's over. They're trying to keep people watching, and they'll
May
go
not be a bad strategy on his part to retire for a few years too. If he, if the team's gonna fall off a cliff, maybe it won't. But they don't have those draft picks.
They got Matthew Stafford under contract. They've got players. I mean, they went out and I also feel like people are like overselling or overstating what they gave up. I mean, they really only went out and traded for OBJ and Von Miller and gave up a few draft picks for that. But with the way compensatory picks work, when you lose staff and when you lose free agents and things like that, I don't necessarily think that it's a death knell for them as a franchise moving forward. Maybe it takes a few years. Now, maybe once you have to pay, Cooper Kupp and some of these guys, and Aaron Donald does retire, maybe a couple years down. But I don't think they're going to be a 6-win team next year by any stretch of the imagination.
But does that immediately put Stafford at like a $500 million contract like Pat Mahomes? You know what I mean? Like,
could be.
Obviously not. He's older, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like next year he's going to be like what, 60, 70 million?
Something like that. Could be. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was smart on their part, obviously. It worked out. It paid off. And generally speaking, I feel like people are overstating how bad it's going to set the team back. And like I said, I think people overvalue draft picks too.
I think if they get people to stay there, they'll be fine, right? But if like they're saying like if Aaron Donald's leaving, like that game would probably look a little differently.
No, yeah. If Aaron Donald leaves, that's a huge job. I mean, that's not like deep insight on my part to say that's huge if they lose Aaron Donald. I'm not trying to sound like I'm some genius by saying that, but be interesting to see where they go from there. But Joe Burrow, just touch on him. There's a lot of talk about him. He had one of the more mediocre playoff runs I've ever seen from a quarterback. He really didn't do much in the Super Bowl. If you take away the touchdown pass to Higgins that should have been negated by penalty, Joe Mixon throws for more touchdowns in the Super Bowl than he does. So the guy was getting sacked left and right. He cannot escape like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, some of these other guys, Lamar Jackson. And his passing, I don't think it's terribly difficult, the throws he makes, especially considering when a lot of his plays are just throw it up and have your receiver just assault the whoever's covering them in the secondary, and catch a jump ball. I mean, everybody keeps showing that highlight of where Higgins throws Ramsey out of the way by his face mask. That ball is underthrown too. The receiver has to slow down for it to catch it. Like that's some sort of highlight. I don't see it with the guy. I think he's fine. I think he has a chance to be an above average. But right now, give me Patrick Mahomes. Give me Josh Allen. Give me, some of these other guys over Joe Burrow. I just don't see it. I take Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow. I think Justin Herbert is better quarterback than he is. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a better quarterback. I would say
what a league,
better quarterback.
I know, right?
Stacked
at the QB position.
Kyler Murray, I would say, is better.
Who?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's weird. What's going on with him? He took all of his Arizona Cardinal stuff off of his Instagram and his social media pages, and then there's that story out now that he refused to go back in the game. the playoff
I didn't
loss.
hear that.
Yeah, I heard that too. Like the last minute or something, he took himself out of the game.
Right. So I don't know, who knows what's going on there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we just named what 6, 7 guys that we like better than Joe Burrow.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say he's good. Like when you alluded to it, he doesn't escape, man. The dude just gets sacked over and over and over again. Like he was
part
the
of it's
most
because
sacked quarterback.
he holds on to the ball too long, and he
That-
doesn't like
That
he doesn't
can't
have like a
see.
feel for the pocket. It doesn't look like.
Right. And so when you're just watching him get demolished over and over again, you're like, yeah, this guy's. I mean, yeah. And then when like you said too, when he's throwing to receivers that are open because they're either push the guy 5 yards away from him or like drag him down by their face, like yeah, it's easy to win like that. And then like hats off to Jamar Chase. That dude's a beast, man. So if you're throwing to him, yeah, you can throw 50-50.
That one-handed catch he had in the Super Bowl was sick. I mean, I will give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
so, like,
he
you know, if
also-
you throw like what would be a 50-50 ball to most people, that's a 60-40 ball in his favor most of the time. So, like, yeah.
And like
like
90-10 if he's allowed to push off.
Right.
He does that a lot.
exactly.
Which he gets to do a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, kind of an unremarkable. I'm a jersey freak. I love jerseys. It was an atrocious like matchup of jerseys. Just looking at it, the blue and yellow, and then that black and orange. You know, I think the Rams jerseys are ugly as hell. Anyway, why they ever play games without the blue and the white jerseys in the helmet? Dude, those Rams helmets with the blue with the white horns look sick.
Doug, I had the same thoughts during the game.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's like, why couldn't we do that?
Oh, yeah, no, that's. Hey, man, I love Chris Jones, and I like Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram. You know, he came in here. We'll maybe talk about if the Chiefs keep him when we start talking about offseason moves we'd like to see or we think the team will do. But, yeah, man, like Sack Nation was non-existent against, like,
Yeah, it was
All
pitiful.
playoff
one of the
teams.
most putrid offensive. I mean, the guy got sacked, 16 times in the other 2 playoff games between the Titans and the Rams.
Right.
We can only get 1. Yeah, disappointing there for sure. That was running through my mind as I was watching him just get lit up over and over, especially in the second half, man. They were swarming that dude.
Yeah.
Burrow was getting swarmed, and
They had no answer for it either. That was fascinating, man.
yeah. Right. So kind of an unremarkable Super Bowl, but it's over. The season's over. The the Chiefs come up 2 games short. I don't know how you want to look at it. Of what we were thinking was realistic. Now we're into the off season. I put a tweet out that the Chiefs are. It was pointed out to me that they're co-favorites, not favorites, with the Bills to win the Super Bowl next year. I'm going to give the Chiefs a slight edge there, considering they beat Buffalo 3 out of the last 4 games the last 2 seasons, including knocking them out of the playoffs the last 2 seasons. So I'll give them a little bit of an edge there. We'll go ahead and just call them the Super Bowl favorite. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP favorite, betting favorite in Vegas too. You guys, what do you think? That's what, 3 years in a row now going into the offseason. The Chiefs are instantly the favorites to win the Super Bowl. All the talking heads, all of the so-called experts that are out there trying to get clicks and make hot takes to get their names out there, maybe go viral, get some recognition. Talking about, is Burrow is he the quarterback to be in the AFC and this and that? Vegas knows, and Vegas has Mahomes as the favorite and the Chiefs as the favorite. Obviously not a guarantee of anything, but you'd rather be the favorite than to be like one of these teams like the Lions. It's like plus 10,000 to make the Super Bowl or whatever it is. What do you guys think about Vegas, the favorites for Chiefs and Mahomes, Nick?
Well, the odds don't lie, right? They're not thinking about anything except what is they view as the most realistic scenario to happen in the future based on the information they have. So when they look back, they say, look, this dude has never fell short of making at least the AFC Championship game, and he's made Super Bowls in 50% of the seasons he's played.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Look, the hats off to them. They did beat us twice last year. I still walk away from both of those games thinking, man, like we should beat that team next time we play them. So I'm not scared of them. I don't even know that the Chiefs are scared of them. They're probably just more mad at themselves for, the things they could have done differently that would have won the game. Just one or two plays would have really won the game for them there. So I think it's right where it should be. I mean, when you were looking at the playoffs, and one of the reasons that the Super Bowl probably feels like a letdown is because of that Chiefs-Bills game. I mean, everybody was like, that felt like the Super Bowl, and it still feels like. I mean, just thinking about it, I get goosebumps thinking about how we came back and won that freaking game.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game
on TV.
Yeah.
That felt like the Super Bowl, like watching.
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense that those would be the teams that would be looked at as, okay, these are the cream of the crop going into next year until proven otherwise. So I think it's spot on.
That's fascinating that we didn't get that kind of love this past year. Like we went to the Super Bowl the previous year, you know what I mean? And like obviously they knew what was wrong. We had a retooled offense. So like the fact that like we didn't get that kind of love this past year is kind of weird that we're getting it all of a sudden this year. But yeah, it makes sense, man. Like when you look at all the teams, like who would be better? I mean, like Nick said, there was just one or two plays where we kind of defeated ourselves. Man, like we've said it here, it should have been us. We can say that all that we want. It wasn't though.
Chris Jones has Joe Burrow in his grasp on 3rd and 6 there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
If he sacks it there, if he comes up with that sack, I think the Chiefs win that game.
Right.
So
yeah, I think it's spot on. I mean, name me a better team than the Chiefs right now. You know what I mean? Like that Super Bowl didn't prove that either of those teams were that good, really. You know what I mean? Like there was so many flaws in both those teams. We saw like as soon as one player on each side got hurt, like both offenses just drastically got reduced to like nothing. Like the Rams couldn't even run the ball for a yard. It was pretty sad to watch. The Bengals were just going to the same receiver over and over again, but
yeah.
Vegas is right though. Chiefs are going to win it. I'm positive about that. It's interesting though that they're going for Mahomes for MVP though. I mean, there's a lot of people competing for that position that even like they got snubbed this year too.
His teammates kind of let him down the first 4 or 5 games of the season there with all the drops for interceptions.
Right.
To me, he's still the best quarterback and the best player in the NFL. Take away some of those drops that turned into interceptions and some of those drives end up and you give him, if he had 6 or 7 of those, let's just say he ends up banking another 2 or 3 touchdowns on those drives. You're looking at a 40-10 touchdown interception ratio again. He can do it. It's so weird. Like when you look at all the other like really good quarterbacks, like Josh Allen, his mobility. Josh Allen has a strong arm, but he's not the most accurate passer. I don't see him making like a lot of insanely difficult touch throws or on the money throws, throwing guys open necessarily. Even that AFC champion or that divisional round playoff game, most of the touchdowns and the big throws he made were to guys that were open. He wasn't threading the needle to anybody. So
I'll give his size as a huge advantage to him.
He's
not the most mobile, but like he'll lower his shoulder and take on defenders and win those,
Right. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers and he can throw like those beautiful touch passes and can make every throw.
Yeah.
And, a guy like Lamar Jackson can make plays with his legs and stay alive. Kind of the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Like Mahomes can do all of that shit. Like the guy can avoid pressure, can get out of the pocket, can make throws on the run. He can run and get yardage and get first downs and score touchdowns when he needs to. He outrushed Josh Allen in that divisional playoff game, and he can make all the throws, and he has the rocket arm. The dude to me is like a hybrid of all of the other top tier quarterbacks.
And you know what the Chiefs do that I really enjoy? That all those quarterbacks, he does something that all those other quarterbacks do, or he doesn't do something that all those other quarterbacks do. They don't have designed run plays for him. They don't snap in the ball and just have him take off. And like, obviously they paid too much money and they're not going to risk that, but like for good reason too. Like it's not even necessary, right? Like, granted he can run, no doubt. And we saw him like take off and get a ton of yards this year, but like, that's just too risky, man. Like I would hate to be a Bills fan. I mean, it's cool watching your quarterback take off and plow over a linebacker or something, but like, that's just way too risky to have your quarterback lowering his shoulder on some of these pros.
You know what wasn't cool was watching Cam Newton play his last season or two in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the comp, right? And I know Scott's made that comparison before, but I just I worry about the long-term health when he runs like that and it initiates that type of contact. We saw Lamar Jackson get injured.
Right.
Which
that's exactly what made me think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cam Newton had a big arm, but he wasn't necessarily the most accurate. He couldn't make all of the throws that these other top tier passers can make. And Cam Newton, once his legs started to break down just a little bit, he fell off quick. So I mean, I'm not worried about it because I'm not a Bills fan. I'm not saying
with the MVP thing
wear now, but I don't see Josh Allen being in the discussion as one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the league 3 or 4 years from now.
No, I don't either.
With the MVP thing, what I think they're looking at is if Mahomes can play at the higher levels of his game for a season, his ceiling is so high that there's nobody that can compete.
Right.
With maybe the exception of Aaron Rodgers, which who knows if he's even going to play, right? So I think that's the thought process there of it's like if he's on, then there's nobody that plays better than him. There might be some people that come close, like for some performances, but there's nobody that's making like consistently the level of throws, the escapability, all that stuff put together week in and week out. And so I just think the smart money is to not, because I mean, what's going to happen is like if they don't and they put somebody else as the favorites and they have Mahomes with like better odds, they're just like leaving themselves open to like get screwed out of a lot of money, right? Because everybody's going to jump on that bet. If you saw that Mahomes was given really good odds for MVP, like I don't even gamble and I'd probably take the bet. I'd probably put $50 down just cause. So
yeah, so we'll see. There's a lot of, when we still have free agency, we still have the draft, we still have OTAs, mini camps, training camp, preseason, before we get to week 1 of the 2022 campaign for the Chiefs and the NFL as a whole. So, but like I said, you would rather be the favorite than one of these teams at the bottom that's plus 10,000 or whatever the odds are.
Yeah, for sure.
How many times did we say it this season though? Like the word fluke. Like how many flukes did we see that like we probably won't see next year? Like you like drop passes and just like missed plays, bad calls. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like this season was a fluke kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, their offense is very streaky, right? I mean, and I don't know if that's Mahomes or if it's play calling, if it's everything combined. I think that I've seen that before Mahomes came to the Chiefs with the same coaching system in place, where we would go through and score a bunch of points and then look totally inept with Alex Smith. Even I don't know if that's. I mean, I just think that's like an Andy Reid thing that I've seen for longer than Mahomes, but it is frustrating to see when we look like nobody on earth can stop us on offense, and then we go and it's like we can't get a first down. It's one of the more head scratching things I've ever seen. I mean, any football team.
Other teams' defenses adjust, then you have to adjust back. I don't know that I've ever seen Patrick Mahomes ice cold. I've seen the offense get ice cold when we try to run it up the middle on first and second down with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then a guy drops a pass on third down or something. Very little of it, though, I think is due to Patrick. That's something we can talk about here too when we start talking about off-season moves, what to do at running back. But I don't know. The offense definitely like stagnated at points, but it's also you're not going to score touchdowns on every drive. I mean, it is the NFL, and you are going up against professionals that are getting paid and defenses and coaches that want to adjust. So.
I think Nick hit the nail right on the head, man. Like, I think it's the coaching. I've seen it way
That's
too
part
long.
of it too, play calling.
Just like, but like I've said it before, like players have ebbs and flows. I think coaches do. Coaches are right on. They're right on the money. They're right in the other coach's head. They know what they're going to call. You know what I mean? They're calling coverages to the receiver that the ball is going to get thrown to. Like they're that good. And then, they go ice cold and they're blowing the coverage call and everything. So. Yeah, I think it's more coaching error than like what you're saying than Patrick Mahomes than anything.
Right. Yeah, play calling and situations and running the ball with Clyde and just anyway.
Yeah.
So getting into the off season, free agency is going to be coming up here pretty soon. Moves, Chiefs. You think like where do they? I mean, they got some guys that are going to be free agents. I don't think they can keep everybody. There's some free agents and other teams that maybe you could try to bring in to replace some of these guys. You got the draft. What do you think is the Chiefs' biggest need to address through free agency and the draft for next season? It could be. You could talk about offense. You could talk about a position group. Players in specific, like a exact position, someone on the team you want to make sure you feel they have to keep, someone else that, like I said, on another team you'd like to see them bring in. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, man, there's some stuff I'd like to see change. I'd like to see a lot of retooling on the defense specifically. Our corners and our safeties just did not get it done this year. It seemed that like when a quarterback had any time longer than 3 seconds in the pocket, there was some dude 5-10 yards open, and they were making bad quarterbacks look good all year. And other teams could simply shut that down. So, I don't know if it's inexperience or like just older guys, maybe a little combination of both. I mean, we have rookies out there with seasoned veterans. But yeah, I'd like to see some retooling around there. As far as like guys we have to keep on the defense, obviously Nick Bolton, that dude. I mean, we have him, but like I think we need to incentivize him to stay for as long as we can. And then Chris Jones, got to keep him, man. I mean, I know he's kind of like we didn't see as much as we'd like from him in the playoffs, but the stats when he's in a game versus when he's out of a game are just ridiculous for our defense. So I mean, offensive wise, I don't know. There's a lot of free agents moves that like possibilities that are out there, like whether or not we could afford it or not. That's to be said. But I like what we have, man. I like our up and coming tight ends and Noah Gray and God, the other guy's name is escaping me right now. Anyway, the tight ends are great. I don't mind our receiving core. Obviously got to keep our studs. So I want to see how we pull this off financially, but I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Nick?
Defensively, I mean, I think that we should probably look at moving on from Brent Clark. I think that contract money could probably be redistributed to keep Honey Badger around for another few years. I don't think we should overpay for Matthew. I mean, he's a great player. He's the team MVP. He won the Derek Thomas Award this year. So I think that they're probably going to try to keep him. So, and then that would mean that we're probably looking at drafting on the defensive line. I agree with what you're saying in the secondary, but I think that some of that is caused by the fact that the way that, the type of defense we play is meant to get to the quarterback quickly and disrupt passes in those plays. And when we don't get to the quarterback and they have that time and you're playing that press coverage and stuff, that's why those guys get open, just because it's not like they're not doing a lot of zone, right? They play more man-to-man. And so I think that's probably, like defensive end and we could we're going to be picking pretty low. So like getting a premier corner in the first round or something is probably looking in later rounds for secondary help. Offense, like for me, it's all about what are we going to do for a running back. We talked about the Rams and what they did. And like, I would not be adverse at all if we went and said, look, Colts, like, Carson Wentz ain't the answer. You've got a pretty fine running back there. Like, what would it take to get him over to our team on his rookie contract here and just see what it is? No, you don't think so? Yeah, I mean, they obviously
give us like your best secondary player and 2 first-round draft picks like that. There's no way the Colts are going to let you have Jonathan Taylor. But
I mean, Jalen Ramsey, best cornerback in the league, was up right when the team was floundering. So, and I know the Colts, like, they're not exactly floundering, but I'm just saying, like, I would like to see us take a shot. I mean, they're like that's what unlocks the entire offense is getting a premier running back. So maybe we can find a guy in the second or the third round as a running back, but I'd like to see us look at what's available. And if we were going to go swing for the fences on a trade, give up 2 first-round picks, and a second-round pick or a third-round pick to get a guy that is a proven, top 10 running back if we can make the trade happen. So maybe it's not possible. I understand what you're saying. The Colts probably wouldn't make that trade, but I mean, we've got to do something there because it was very apparent this year that teams are going to continue to play coverage. I mean, how embarrassing is it when, they're only rushing 3 people for a half a football and we just can't get it done with our first round running back. I mean, that should be 15 yards a carry. When you got 9 guys back in coverage, I mean, and you can't run the freaking ball. It's pitiful. So those are my needs. I mean, I would like to get a better, number 2 receiver, but I think that where we're going to be picking, those are kind of like wish list items, right? I mean, I don't know that we're going to be able to find one of those dudes that is going to be like a premier type receiver that late, where we're going to be picking in the draft. So,
yeah, I would like to see the secondary fortified. Charvarius Ward, I'd rather keep him than Tyrann Mathieu personally. You look at some of his gradings and his performances this year, and Charvarius Ward, man, that dude's like one of the top corners in the NFL. He doesn't get a lot of love because it's Patrick Mahomes and the offense is what gets most of the press, but he's a damn good player, I think, especially what the Chiefs want to do.
Yeah, completely.
To play tight man coverage. Tyrann Mathieu, I don't know what it was this year. I know he racked up some interceptions and some sack like early when Lamar Jackson was throwing it up for grabs, but I didn't see that guy sticking his nose in there as much as I had in the past. I didn't see that guy. I know he got hurt early in the Bills game, but where was he in the playoff games? I just didn't. I don't know. He's getting older. I think he's going to command a big paycheck, and I think there's going to be a team out there that is going to be willing to pay more money than he's worth and that the Chiefs should spend to keep him. So I would rather keep Ward. Maybe, you look at his safety as like one of your upper draft picks because you should be able to get a really, really good safety at the end of the first round, I would think. So somewhere there. And then the pass rush, they got to figure it out. They can't come in at the bottom of the league in sacks again this year. That Frank Clark maybe restructure his deal because he obviously was nowhere near what his contract will command next year. So he's not going to get that money anywhere else anyway. So maybe he'll restructure. But they're solid at linebacker, I think, right now with those guys. So.
Brent Clark was the highest paid player on the team this year, wasn't he?
Right. Yeah. If he gets released, he's not going to get that kind of money anywhere else either. And he seems like he likes it here, and he seems to like his role, and he seems to like playing for Andy Reid. And I mean, who wouldn't like playing with Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So
You
maybe
think
you
he
can
takes less money
restructure
then?
him and address that in the draft, maybe. I don't know. I just, to me, that's like one A and one B for me. There, I would go either way. I'd be happy there with the defense. And as far as the offense goes, I don't. I mean, I didn't like giving up one first round pick for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't want to be trading a bunch of draft picks, especially top round for another running back. Look at what Jarrett McKinnon was able to do towards the end of the season in the playoffs. That dude, you got him for nothing.
Yeah.
I have this feeling that because of his draft pedigree and what they invested in him, that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they're going to be like, well, it was our fault that he wasn't more productive, and we need to get him more involved. Or so I just can see that happening, and I'm sorry, the guy's just not very good. He's not.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but the NFL's, I mean, especially when it comes to like head coaches and making those decisions, they're pretty brutally honest with players. I think they know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And I would be surprised if they didn't make some changes at running back. Like,
yeah, I don't know, man.
yeah.
He's the first round pick. Like it's admitting failure on that part. If you cut Bailey before you even get to the end of his first contract, maybe they will.
Having four running backs and like playing them all season simultaneously is like admitting failure. Your number one pick isn't the greatest pick, you know. Like
right.
You can't do that shit show.
Yeah, but I mean, until he kind of had injury, you saw that he was the guy that was out there. He was the starter, and he was getting the majority of the touches. And so I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to improve running back, but I'm not optimistic that they will. I just don't. I just feel like they'll.
So you wouldn't trade 2 first-round picks for the right guy?
No.
What if it was like?
I think you can get a Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round or the 4th round, or you can get a Jarrett McKinnon off the scrap heap.
That's what I was just about to say, like a Kareem Hunt.
I mean, it's not that I don't want Jonathan Taylor. I wanted him when they should have drafted him instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, obviously.
Yeah, agreed.
But don't compound one mistake by going out and doubling down on it. But hey, I don't think the Colts are going to give that. I mean, he was like in the MVP discussion towards the end of the year.
Sure.
Especially with their quarterback situation.
It wouldn't happen. I mean, I'm just saying that like we should take a home run swing on what's really the only missing piece of our offense, which is a solid running game.
Right.
So if you've got a guy that is a great running back that is young, right? And I mean, to me, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be picking like 28th, 29th, 30th in the first round anyway, right?
But look where they picked like Darrell Williams. Like Damian Williams in the Super Bowl team. They picked him up out of nowhere off the Dolphins. They picked up Jarrett McKinnon out of nowhere off of the 49ers. Like there's guys out there. Like you can fill that position without giving up a premium.
I think giving up any draft capital for a running back would be a huge mistake, especially when we have 4 guys. 2 of them are pretty like decent. They just don't get the opportunity. I'm talking about Gore and McKinnon. They should definitely get more carries, each of them, in my opinion. That's why I kind of feel like we should, like the defense, dude. It should be focused on getting good guys on the defense. If it has to bring in another like veterans like Melvin Ingram did, like look what that guy did for our line, dude. Like completely changed it. There are so many guys I think that are just overlooked that we don't have to give up 1st round, 2nd round picks.
Yeah.
We can just go get some guys that that are hanging around the edges that are really good, just in the wrong place. Like I guarantee, like look at like what Stafford did for the Rams. You know what I mean? I guarantee that position is available somewhere on a defense in the defense. There's some guy on a terrible team that's a defensive stud. You bring him over, he's going to shine. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram, I'd love to see him come back. I don't know what kind of money he's going to command at his age. He still could play, obviously. I mean, he wasn't necessarily prime Melvin Ingram when he was with the Chargers, but still pretty damn good. One of the better pass rushers on that defensive line. So,
yeah,
I have secondary and pass rusher. Either one of those, I'd be happy with. And, I think Pringle's a free agent. I don't know if there'll be other teams that'll show a lot of interest in him or not. He flashed, made some good plays, but he was also wasn't like a game breaker necessarily. And
Right, he dropped some balls in some clutch moments too.
Yeah, key drops, things like that. So, who knows what they do there? Go out, and if you can get yourself somebody to go with Tyreek Hill on the other side there, help free him up a little bit. But you got Travis Kelce. He's basically a wide receiver as far as production goes. So, not too worried there. What do you think McKinnon's future is? Could be at least an answer for. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell with his injury history.
Right.
He was injured for part of the year this year. I don't know. He showed out, though, towards the end of the year, especially in the playoffs. So maybe he got himself a 3-year deal with somebody somewhere else, or maybe his stock maybe, is at like a high right now because of that. And you have to overpay to. I don't know if you can get him back on a 1-year deal like they did this year. I'd like to see him back on a 1-year deal.
Me too. I thought he did great, man. I was a huge McKinnon fan this year.
Good, man.
He would truck over fools. He earned every yard. He would actually go for first downs. Like, I don't know.
Make people miss, head burst, outran defenders in the open field. Everything Clyde Edwards-Helaire doesn't do.
He looked great. I just don't think he's a long-term solution at the position.
No, but then like how cool would it be to have him and Derek Gore like exchanging series. Like I think that's the answer right now. If we were able to keep the same running back core, those guys would be 1 and 2.
Is Kareem Hunt free agent this year?
I think he is. I think he is. I think there's actually like been some like rumors about like just floating around ideas about that happening.
He's getting older now though, right? I mean,
yeah, he dealt with some injuries, and there was a couple times the last season and a half where Chubb went down with injury and Hunt really wasn't like as dominant as I was expecting him to be.
Yeah.
He's
also running for the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns got a killer line though. They're all about the running line. So yeah, that's that defense though. Defense, because you saw it. The Titans held the Bengals to 19 points.
Yep.
And the Rams won the Super Bowl scoring, 23 points. So against the Bengals, I don't want to get back in this conversation we had.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
But it's just like you had a 3 fucking score lead at home in the playoffs. You got to be able to hold that lead. I'm sorry. You need to be able to win scoring 24 points. You need to. The Rams did it. So, and before everybody starts saying, well, the Rams are a defensive team. They got Stafford. They got Cooper Kupp, man. They went and got OBJ. Like, they're not just a team that's all defense and no offense, okay?
Right.
They had players on both sides, and their defense made stops when they needed to. On 4th down, Aaron Donald busted through the line and sacked Burrow basically to end the game. That's what we need.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Brent Clark do that 1 year, right?
Yeah, the Titans AFC Championship game sacked
and the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. What's that?
And the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, and they got in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. It's a weird thing with Frank Clark. I don't.
Yeah.
Has it been injuries? Has it been off-season distractions? Has it been just he's not that old?
Right.
It's just I don't know. Like he flashed there too. He had a stretch there for 2 or 3 or 4 games where it looked like maybe he was back.
Yeah, I remember talking about him.
Middle third of the season, because he kind of cooled off towards the end of the season, and the playoffs obviously was not all that spectacular. But he I want to say he got a sack in what was it? Wasn't the Bills game? It was maybe the Steelers game. He got a sack or something, but forced a fumble too. That Steelers game, I think he's the one that stripped the ball out there. God, how'd the Steelers make the playoffs? Anyway, sorry. Get sidetracked there.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to be back to last preseason. Scott keeps going back in the games.
Keep going back. Man, yeah, and then week 3.
Remember when we smashed the Vikings in week 3 of preseason?
2017 season.
No. But, so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's still got something left, and if he could be healthy, I don't know what it is to that guy. I like the guy.
I mean, I think he's good. He's got a roster spot, just not, like for premier money.
No, not for making more money than Patrick Mahomes. No, definitely not.
Right.
So, I don't know what else to say other than just they need to fix the defense. Like
Right.
Do you
Right.
think? Do you think that they need? Do you think that the problem with the defense is personnel, or do you think it's scheme and coaching?
Yeah, should Spags
Man, I don't
consider
know.
hitting the road a little bit, maybe?
I'm not smart enough to know if it's scheme or if it's players.
Wait. When it's 3rd and 27 and you see the coordinator call an all-out blitz and you think it's personnel or coaching in that situation?
Okay. In an extremely obvious situation, even an idiot like me can see that was a bad decision. But for a majority of the plays, I don't know if it's guys just not making plays or not. I always tend to say it's more on players than coaching anyway. I mean, how many great coaches and coordinators did you ever know of that had shitty players, right? I mean, I don't know. So I'm not opposed to Spags hitting the road necessarily because the defense wasn't that great. And really, they weren't all that, great. I mean, they were decent last year, but I don't know. Seemed like we saw guys playing out of position, especially earlier in the season with Dan Sorensen and Chris Jones. You bring up the situation where he gets overly aggressive and on plays or in key critical moments of games. So yeah, maybe he's part of the problem.
I'm just saying that, like on a defense, on either side of the ball for any team, the best you can realistically expect is probably to have like 4 players that are really, really solidly above average to great players at their position in the league. And we've got Chris Jones, who great player at his position in the league, right? We've got Charvarius Ward, who is above average, if not, one of the greater players. We've got Honey Badger, who is above average. We've got Nick Bolton, who, probably should have got more chatter for Defensive Rookie of the Year. You've got 4 or 5 guys. Frank Clark, has the potential to be an above average to really good player, depending on
Willie Gay.
Willie Gay. So where are we sitting there saying that we've got huge gaps that we should be giving up 30 plus points a game? That's where my mindset is right. I think the pieces are there for the most part. We do need, better pass rushing, but do we need better pass rushers or what they said in the Super Bowl is the Rams figured out the Bengals offensive line and how to attack it. And once they figured it out, there's nothing the Bengals could do. So I don't know, man. I just I wonder, is it just the coaching? Is it just that we don't have somebody that's really got what it takes? I mean, I don't know if got what it takes is the right way to say it, but if Spags is the right guy for the personnel that he has to make it work at a high level.
I was going to make this comment about our coaching staff, but Doug's is making it about the players, right? Like our D's lackadaisical when we have the lead, we can go up 7 or 10, right? I feel like that's our defensive coach's mindset, dude. Just it's okay. Even if they score here, we can get it back.
And what I told Dad was apologies if either of these are you guys or anybody listening, but there's people that it doesn't matter how much money they end up making at their job. At the end of their pay period, they have $0 in their pay in their checking account, and sometimes they have 100, and sometimes they overdraft, right? There's some people that doesn't matter. They make $100 a week or they make $5,000 a week. They're going to spend all of their money, and that's our defense. It doesn't matter if the offense putting points on the board is their bank account. And they're going to spend pretty much all the money, no matter how many points we score, and they're going to come right up to that point. You guys scored 17 points. We can give up 17 points. Oh, shit, we gave up 20, Oh, we only gave up 14. And it's you guys scored 35 points. Well, we might give up between 34 and 38, and I just that's how I feel about it. And I feel especially at the end of that Bengals game, they were just we can give up a touchdown here. We got a 3-score lead. It's, we can give up a touchdown. It's not, and maybe that's totally wrong. I mean, I'm sure that there's people that on the team with a strong social media presence that would say, I don't know shit about football. And they're probably right. But at the same time, like, all I can see, is what, from the fans' perspective, that's how it looks.
No, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. I mean,
the Chiefs are always
it was.
no matter how much or how little they score.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to blame Patrick in the offense for not scoring 40 points every playoff game. 24 needs to be enough to win at home, and they need to figure that out. So, be interesting to see. Looking ahead to next year a little bit.
Yeah.
The opponents. It's a fairly interesting schedule. They've got. It looks to be fairly tough, but that's a hard exercise to do right now.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen with free agency, and you don't know what's going to happen in the draft, and you don't know what's going to happen with injuries and OTAs and training camp and preseason. So you can always look ahead to the opponents, but they've got a fairly stout schedule, it looks like.
Dude, it looks tough.
So, I mean, you're looking at, some of the away games. You're looking like at Arizona. Who knows? Maybe they come back to earth. They kind of crashed. Be interesting to see. I would much rather play the Cardinals later in the year than at the beginning of the year because they seem to be good for about the first 6-7 weeks of the season and then go into hiding. So let's hope that Cardinals game. And I kind of like to go to that Cardinals game, and I'd rather go there in maybe November or December when it's cold here.
Right.
Go to sunny, warm Arizona. But they've got some fairly decent. It'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay does. That's an away game. They don't have Tom Brady now, but maybe the Colts, 49ers. They were a team that was in NFC Championship game. That's a road game.
Sorry to cut you off here, but I'm gonna walk you back to that Cardinals game. Didn't you say somebody that has a bar out there?
Well, there's one of our followers. When the opponents came out, I said something about I would like to go watch some away games, and one of them was Arizona. And one of our followers was like, "Dude, you should come do the show at my bar here in Scottsdale."
Do you remember which bar it was? Was it called the Rock House or something like that?
No, I don't recall if he told me the name of it or not. Maybe he did, or they did.
No.
But I know who it is, so we could definitely reach out and hit him up. But yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be game to do something like that.
I'd like to go to some road games next year. So maybe better to have that game later in the year because the Cardinals seem to fall off towards the end of the year. And like I said, I'd like to go to a warm place to get away from the cold weather here in KC for a weekend. Maybe take 3 or 4 days there. But
we could do a little road trip out there. Do a little Chiefs Kingdom Live podcast from our followers' bar.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be cool.
There's a couple Chiefs bars out there that are really cool. If it's the one I'm thinking about, which I think it is, I don't think it's called the Rock House though. I think it's something else. I think I'll get my name mixed up, but it's really cool. Do they have all the Chiefs songs and stuff playing through the loudspeakers? So you do the chop and everything, and all the celebrations and
right. So I know I was just talking about away games. Well, let's just, since Nick's got the graphic up here, we'll just go through what we think of the home opponents. You got obviously the AFC West division teams there. Then the Titans, they were the 1 seed in the AFC this year. Maybe they weren't the best 1 seed ever, but hey, they were the 1 seed. So you got them coming to town. You got the defending Super Bowl champions coming to town. Wow. Jags, that's an easy game. Buffalo, solid. I mean, obviously a top competitor in the AFC. You like to have that game at home, but that's still a tough matchup. Seahawks, man, who knows what's going to be with them and Russell Wilson. So
how are they not just really good? I don't understand, dude. They had some of the best receivers I've ever seen play.
Well, their defense
used to be amazing.
Yeah, their defense really went to hell, and Russell Wilson really wasn't that great this year. I don't know what happened there, but for a team that had been known for the Legion of Boom or whatever it was, their defense is really, really, really fallen off.
God, Kansas City's got to be feeling so good. Look at that lineup. That is all those games are pretty. I mean, other than the Jags, those are awesome.
If you look at it, we've got to play the team that was in the AFC Championship that wasn't us. Both of the teams are in the NFC Championship, right? Which it means both Super Bowl teams, right? Crazy. We've got to play the team like what? The Tampa Bay was in the divisional round. The Bills were in the divisional round. I think it's kind of funny too because that they scheduled that 17th game as Tampa Bay, thinking that they're going to get another Brady Mahomes, and then Brady retired, and they were like, "Fuck."
There were rumors floating around online that game might be in Germany.
I think they base that 17th game off where you finished in your conference. Tampa Bay was the 2 seed, right?
Is that how it is? Is that why we played Green Bay?
The Chiefs were the 1 seed, and Green Bay was the 1 seed last year.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just like I didn't think there was a formula for that.
No, I think they lined that up like for like a fairness or an equity thing, like to make it whatever there. So,
okay.
So but I'm pretty sure they lined you up with however you.
Yeah.
Right. So if you finish 6th or 8th or 10th or whatever in your conference record wise, I think that's how they figure those games up. So, but yeah, I mean that's 3 playoff teams at home, which 3 out of 8. That's a fairly. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a fairly easy home schedule, honestly. We talked about the Rams. They won the Super Bowl, but are they going to fall off? Are they, they're not going to have Von Miller next year unless they get to re-sign him. They're not going to have OBJ unless they get to re-sign him. I mean, those are guys that were going to be gone, I'm pretty sure. So, and then away, that's a pretty, you got the division, San Francisco. Be interesting to see what they do with Trey Lance there. But they were in the NFC Championship game, a team that plays traditionally really good defense. Bengals on the road, AFC champions. Houston Texans, that's an easy game.
Colts is
who knows? That was a team that nobody wanted to face in the playoffs, so the Chiefs didn't have to, and then they didn't make the playoffs because they couldn't beat the Jaguars. So, and then Arizona and Tampa Bay, 2 teams that were playoff teams this year, but what does Tampa Bay do without Tom Brady next year?
Right.
The Cardinals
or Gronk.
Yeah, or Gronk. The Cardinals are, I don't know, a first half team. So I don't know. That's what just based off this last year. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playoff teams they got to go up against from this year, right?
And one of them twice, right?
Yeah, and one of them twice. So,
looking at this through like the hangover goggles I have from this year, this looks like a tough schedule. You know what I mean? Just like we said, some of these teams aren't going to be the same team, but like just kind of going off the taste of this last season, like, dang, that looks tough right now.
Yeah, I would say outside of the division, like your 3 toughest games to me would be the Rams. And it's hard to say there though because you don't know. I would say the Bills is probably the toughest game on the schedule. Yep. You get that one at home. Next toughest would be the Rams?
It depends on which Titans team they have next year, dude. If they have the Titans
Ryan Tannehill's, I don't know about him, and Derrick Henry's going to be another year older.
He's going to be another year older, dude, but I think they just brought him back too early. We were even talking about this with Joe Valero. You know what I mean? Like if they had any inclination that he could play, they were going to play him. He was too valuable of an asset, regardless of if he was 100% or not. Yeah. I don't think he was. It clearly didn't look like he was 100%. So, I mean, like, if he comes back and he's healthy, dude, there's no reason that he wouldn't just still be as dominant of a force as he was. And if they get rid of Tannehill and get a better quarterback, like, dude, that team's going to be just as good, I think.
Aaron Rodgers?
Dude, yeah. And, like, I've heard I've heard that. And I've also heard that where he goes, he's taking Devontae Adams with him. So could you imagine that team in Tennessee?
Why wouldn't he just go to the Bucs?
Right, just begging for them too.
Their division's going to be like total dog shit, right? So I mean, there's not a lot of competition in the division. You know that they have a good team. But I saw the comment from Elaine here we put up. Does Brady stay retired? Can I just comment that like it is absolutely hilarious that Brady went from like being retired, announcing his people said he was retired to him saying I haven't retired yet, to then him saying I'm retired, to then saying, well, I might come back from retirement, like all within less than 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah, I don't care about Tom Brady personally.
no, I know. It's hilarious. It's like, how much attention does the guy need that he keeps bringing?
I think he stays retired, personally.
I think so too.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think he comes back.
Doug, what's up with Aaron Rodgers building a house in Nashville?
I don't know. Like that's interesting. I don't know if that's even. I read that. I don't know if that's.
I heard he bought property. I didn't hear he bought a house.
But I mean, Nashville is a growing place, and for people that are of the political opinions and views that Aaron Rodgers is,
good point.
You're around like-minded individuals.
Yeah, maybe he's going to go work for the Daily Wire
in Nashville. So I don't know what that is.
Isn't that where Pat McAfee's studios are?
Yeah, I believe so. That's where Jason Whitlock's at, Fearless on Blaze Media. So that's like a growing, popular place for conservative, red, whatever you want to call it, people, Trump, whatever. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers on the Tennessee Titans. That's
scary.
With A.J. Brown and with Julio Jones, looks like maybe he should just go away.
Yeah, he's straight out Julio Jones for Devontae Adams, right?
God, dude.
So I don't.
Yeah,
that's a tough exercise to do right now, looking at these teams, because again, there's always one or two or three teams you think are going to be good next year that aren't. There's always one or two bad teams you think are going to suck again next year, and they kind of jump up and surprise you. Like the first to worst and the worst to first teams you see, like there's a couple of those, and if so, maybe you got one of them on your tab. Who knows? But I'm looking at that right now, and I'm saying that's a 13-4 or 14-3 record. Nick?
Ooh.
Oh, let me count here. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's not as I go through and I think about it, it's not as tough as it originally looks. You know, I felt like the Titans were going to be that team that fell off and just fell apart, and they haven't yet. So kudos to them. But I mean, I think the 49ers are threatening that territory with losing Jimmy G, and who knows how good Trey Lance is going to be.
They've got a major unknown at quarterback.
Yeah. They went for the Chiefs formula, the Patrick Mahomes method, right? Of sitting a guy essentially for a year, and they drafted a guy that looked like he could play Patrick Mahomes in a movie about Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, they're literally trying to do everything exactly the way the Chiefs did it. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that they're gambling and they're playing a low percentage there. But you need one of those guys to win the Super Bowl, right? They saw that with Jimmy G twice now, where they have a good team, but he's just not good enough to win when it really matters. So.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think they stubbed their toes somewhere in the division once.
Right. And
then maybe you get another loss to, like, a Buffalo or a 49ers on the road. That road schedule looks easy as hell the more and more I look at it. Like,
yeah.
You're going to be the 49, you've owned the division. So I don't. San Francisco, rookie quarterback, who knows?
Right.
Bengals, they beat us twice, but I still think the Chiefs are better. And is there a team that's more suited for like a Super Bowl hangover than the Bengals?
Oh,
the team that won 6 games the previous 2 seasons before this year, then like made the Super Bowl and lost. That could be, dude. And they play in a division with the Steelers are never always complete all the way down. The Ravens, they bounce back. Maybe the Browns, they disappointed this year. They had some injuries and stuff. So who knows? But they're in a tough division, man. Like I could see them missing the playoffs. That would not be a surprise to me.
You know, when I look at this, there's like 5, maybe 6 games that I'm not like overly confident about it. I still feel like we could do what you're saying. 13-4 seems easily achievable. Even better than that seems possible. But like I always feel like there's going to be an AFC West game that we just don't play well. We play down to the other team, and they'll get one on us. Like that happens
Well, it
every
depends
year,
on
right?
who it is,
Like,
too, right? Like they
yeah,
seem
it's
like to
just,
schedule these division games later in the year now, and we play them with like backups and shit. So the
and then
last
we
week,
play them like 2 weeks apart, dude. So I mean, like I don't know, like that's what I'm saying. Like there's usually one team that can like kind of catch us there. I kind of expressed it earlier. The Titans, I feel like if they come back strong and healthy, that it's not like a game I'm worried about, but I mean, it'll be a tough game. The Rams, I mean, we just saw them make the Super Bowl. We just talked them up about how they paid for all these all-stars. If they can keep everybody and it's the same team, like yeah, I'm a little nervous about that game, but it'd be cool. I think it'd be a fun match to see.
But I also watched the Super Bowl thinking,
yeah, exactly. I think like that's what every KC fan would be like. Oh, this is what the Super Bowl should have been. Obviously, the Bills for the the past games we've witnessed with them, but I don't know. I just don't feel like the Bills are as good as they like got hyped up to be. I mean, our defense didn't look, but we made them look better than they were in that divisional game. But then going to the road games, like you kind of said it, the 49ers, I don't know, we don't tend to play them the best. And then the Colts seem to like just always hang around, dude. I have a buddy that's a Colts fan, and like he loves texting me during Colts Chiefs games, and like every time he does, the Colts make a comeback of some miraculous fashion, or like they just hang around and make it an interesting game. I mean, so there's some in there that like they're not just like guarantees for me, but
no, they're not guarantees, but
right, yeah.
I'm trying to see a road game where the Chiefs won't be the favorite. I don't see one.
Maybe the Chargers game, dude. Yeah. Maybe the Chargers game by like a point and a half.
It depends on which game's first, right? Like, I mean, if we play at LA first early in the season, they'll probably
play at home against LA's at home. So,
LA Chargers. Sorry.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Right. So if we play the Chargers at home first, and we beat them handily, and depends on what their record is and where we, so I mean, I don't know, but it's hard to say that they would be favored over us. I mean,
okay, even if that's the case, 1 out of 9 road games, you're the
right
dog. I mean,
I could see Vegas picking Cincy being the favorite just because they beat us this year twice.
Yeah, maybe.
It depends on, again. It depends on how they when the game is in the schedule and how they're playing, right?
And then depending what the Bucks do, that's the last one I could see being like iffy. But I don't see them being like touchdown point favorites by any means.
I mean, I can see the 3 hardest games on the schedule being Chargers, Bills, and then either like the Titans or the Rams.
Right.
Shit, 3 of those 4 are at home. Or 3 of those 5 are at home. Like all the tough opponents,
But there is that talk of the Chiefs game being in Europe next year. So I mean that could just always be a toss up, man, with like jet lag.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Man, I don't know. Maybe they would do that. I don't know. Like they don't generally put Super Bowl contenders in the Europe games, but maybe they would. I don't know. I mean, if you're trying to grow the league, you put Patrick Mahomes over in Europe or something. I mean, I think I'm not saying it's impossible, but usually when you see these games, it's like the Jags and the Jets or the Raiders, and so you know what I mean? Like
I think those are both of the teams that licensed for Germany, though, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know how that works.
Tampa Bay and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sister. Yeah, I don't. Maybe
I don't know what that license even means, but that's just what I read.
The Chiefs put out on their Twitter a picture of Andy Reid getting a Bayern Munich jersey, and then the head coach of Bayern Munich getting a Chiefs jersey with his name on it.
Right.
So that's why I think that game will be in Germany next year. I'm just assuming though.
It could be, but that'd be tough, man. Like the Chiefs got to play 9 road games as opposed to 8 this go around. Oh, and by the way, one of them's in Europe. Like that wouldn't be doing the Chiefs any favors. So, because that's almost making that game 2 road games with the travel and everything. Maybe they would. Be interesting to see. I better start saving some money because
sounds like we're going to Europe, boys.
I want to go to that game. If that happens, I want to
spend some money and go to that game. Go meet up with everybody in the Shant Club. I bet you we could get them to.
Oh yeah, no, they have
for a day or two.
Those guys would go. You just hop on the train from England up to Germany. Like that's a weekend trip, no doubt. That's easy.
Yeah, one of my coworkers is in like Frankfurt. He said he'd go to the game with us if they had one out there. So,
yeah, that'd be sick. But
yeah.
So looking at next year's opponents, the more and more I look at it, the easier and easier it gets. I don't know. It's like like when you're drunk at the bar, the girl that doesn't look so good by the end of the night looks a lot better. That's kind of what I'm like. What's going on here? Like looking at the away opponents and the home opponents, but it'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Looking back on this season, Bo, I think you said you had some things you wanted to look back on or talk about. We'll just kind of wrap up this.
Oh yeah. So I was just wondering,
like season finale, because we're going to do some shows as the offseason progresses. Maybe reach out to some viewers and subscribers and people we interact with on social media, see if they just want to come on and talk Chiefs and do like fan profile stuff. And then as free agent news breaks and, as the draft gets closer and training camp, shit like that, we'll be having episodes. So, Bo, what did you want to – I know you said you had some questions about what kind of like looking back on the season.
Yeah, man. I was watching a bunch of YouTube highlights and everything, just, watching old games and stuff from this season, just looking at plays and just going like, oh, man, I remember watching that game and jumping up and down when that happened kind of thing. And it just made me think, like, what were some of the more memorable plays for you guys this season, like offense, defense? Like, what were your top plays for both? Like, was it a turnover? Was it a touchdown pass? Was it a simple, just a subtle play nobody saw coming kind of thing? Scott, let's start with you. What about you?
On defense, and sorry, Nick, but the play where they forced the fumble against the Broncos to basically win that game, and Nick Bolton ran it. Melvin Ingram met Melvin Gordon in the backfield and knocked the ball loose, and then Nick Bolton ran it back for a touchdown to basically win that game in Denver with Drew Lock pretending like he was going to catch and tackle Nick Bolton. I get that you have to jog the play, run the play out, but that was exciting. Probably the most exciting play I can remember on defense. Maybe there's some recency bias. Maybe there was a bigger play earlier in the season. And then on offense, there's a couple to me. Like, so I'm going to go with
one, because we're probably all thinking some of the
stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to name all the good ones here, and then you guys can.
Well, okay, then you go. You do your offense.
No, you're fine. You just pick a play though. I know we all know that there's like
I'm just playing with you.
No, I know. Okay, so I'm gonna pick a performance than just a play. That at the Raiders where Mahomes had like 430 yards and 5 touchdowns or whatever it was, just absolutely destroying the Raiders in Vegas. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that game, and there was numerous great plays. But yeah, they just Patrick Mahomes just lighting the Raiders on fire in their building. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Nick, before we get to your answer, Nick, if any of our viewers want to comment what their favorite plays were this season, let's hear them. What about you, Nick? What about you? What were some of your favorite plays from the season, or your 2 favorite?
I mean, I'll exclude playoffs because I think that's too easy and too obvious, right? Offensively, I like that touchdown catch and run in overtime to seal the division from Travis Kelce. That's like a Hall of Fame highlight reel worthy play. So, and I mean, just thinking about the emotion of that, like we were so excited, we just all hopped on and did a random podcast just because we were like, I don't want to go to bed. And we had, people that were joining to just, talk about it, right? It was an exciting play.
Defense, I literally woke my neighbors up on that play.
Yeah, defensively, I think I'd have to go with Daniel Sorensen's pick six, which essentially won the other Broncos game for us.
Yep.
That was there are a lot of factors into that play, right? It sealed the game for one, but two, nobody probably in the NFL up to that point had caught more shit about being a subpar player, and performer than Dan Sorensen. So for him to have that play at that point in time, I thought was really cool, especially for a Chiefs player that anybody that follows this team understands what Dan Sorensen has meant in some of our previous playoff runs and other games. And so
his celebration on that play too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, is that Dan Sorensen and Deion Sanders dancing into the end zone? So, so that was sick. I mean, it even got a callback, right, from the other play I mentioned from Kelce, where Kelce was, doing the Dan Sorensen as he was getting in the end zone there. So those, and then performance-wise, Scotty, I'm going to go with the other Raiders game that you and I went to, where the logo game is it will forever be remembered, where the Raiders seem to think it was a good idea to stomp on our logo. And before the game, and I guess like a lot of players didn't even know about it or didn't care about it, but it was pretty hilarious that from the very first play on offense that ended up in the Chiefs touchdown, the Raiders offense turned into a defensive score for us. We just like shithoused that team that entire game. It was the largest margin of victory that we either of the team has ever had against the other. So, those are my favorite moments. What about you, Bo?
No, man, what a great season, right? Like I was thinking of all of those plays, so I'm glad you guys only listed one because I was going to name one of those plays though. 13 seconds. That's a great one. I am probably going to steal some of the playoff plays since you guys didn't mention them. But defensively, my favorite play was against the Washington Commanders, or the WTFs of this previous season. We had a lineman.
Let's go, commies.
Literally take one of the passes and just block it down and pin it against the helmet of the offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
Grab it and take it. That interception, I don't know why I'll remember that. Yeah. And then offensive play for me was watching number 73 get a thick six the week after we have Joe Valerio on, who was famously the other 73 who got pretty much our last thick six with like this caliber of a team. So I just thought that was cool, just like starting this podcast, having that happen and everything. Performance wise, I don't know. It's the Tyreek Hill touchdown, grabbing the pom poms and scoring was pretty funny. So the very first game where he caught that 70-yard bomb and was going to do a backflip and realized he was going to get fined a couple $100,000. So he just kind of spun moving. But no, actually my favorite offensive performance was in the playoffs by Travis Kelce. Kind of, calling all the plays on that 13-second drive, telling Tyreek Hill, hey, if you get the ball, come back towards the middle, I can block for you. Telling Patrick Mahomes, hey, man, if they do that the same way, that seam's open, hit me there. And then they just executed flawlessly. And then, he catches the game-winning touchdown in that game. So hell of a season. Yeah.
Probably if I had
I can't believe no one picked the play where Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled the game away against the Ravens.
How could I forget that one?
What? Actually, I got to bring up old shit.
That game had a very similar catch and run to what Nick was talking about in that Chargers game, where he caught it, juked like 8 defenders, ran down the sidelines, juked 2 more like DBs, and had a defensive guy bring him into the touchdown into the end zone, right? That's where we kind of coined the phrase TMFK. So I might actually have to take that play as my favorite offensive play.
There you go.
Yeah. My favorite moment probably from the whole season was the replays where you hear Mahomes saying, "Do it, Kelsey! Do it, Kelsey!" Like that's just like those are things that are going to live on forever. And then just being there after the win of that Bills game in the postseason. I mean, that's that was a level of elation that you don't feel very often when you're watching your team play in sports. So that was yeah, man. We had some great moments this season. Just too bad it didn't end the way that it should have.
This is verifiable on Twitter. If you go onto Chiefs Kingdom Live's Twitter account, you can see that was such a great game. Even Bills Mafia was doing the chop after the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys had been super embarrassed about that. God,
he got so many likes, dude. That's so funny.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. to those guys if they ever saw that video. Here they are. Someone said that they were kids, and I was like, they didn't look like kids to me. Like that.
Nah, that guy was in his 20s.
Yeah. There was people trying to like cop for him too, though. Were like, oh, they were just in the emotion. Don't give them a break, And I've been in a game before where, the atmosphere sucked you in. And I was like, nah, man.
I was not saying hooday after the Bengals beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Right. It was the absolute farthest thing from my mind.
I'm not going to the Bills-Chiefs playoff game and then jumping through a table after the game if the Bills beat the Chiefs. I mean, I'm not doing it. So
I'll slam some Bills fans through a table. That's about as close as I'll get.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing the show. It was good to chat, talking with you guys every week. And it was a lot of fun, Bo, when you came out. That Monday night game against the Giants was a fun game.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was the start of their 8-run winning streak, and then cap it off 10 out of 11. So
yeah,
I'm a little good luck there, Chiefs. Anybody the Chiefs administration is watching, get me out to a game. I'm good for at least 8 wins. So
yeah, we'll have to make sure you get out there earlier in the season this year. So maybe we can get out you for week 1, home opener or whatever it is. So, but yeah, no doubt, it's been a lot of fun.
We came into it when they needed us. They needed me the most, man. 3 and 4, we needed to tie.
Yeah, and we didn't leave early either when they started losing. So, looks like we got a comment. Oh, maybe that's not a new one. Oh yeah, there it is.
Likewise, Doug. Awesome seeing you, sir.
Great seeing you, Bo.
These guys,
yeah,
not so much.
Well, unfortunately for him, he has to see us all the time. So, or almost all the time. But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. Everybody that interacted with us on Twitter, everybody that we were shooting things back and forth with. We had some people that come in and commented. We know Ash commented in there and joined in the show sometimes. Always enjoy seeing her, joining in here and sending us the comments in. And people that subscribe, we got almost 100 subscribers now. I would not have guessed before the season started that you'd tell me we'd get 100 people subscribe. We almost 1,000 followers on Twitter. A lot of people liking our stuff, sending us things. People send us DMs and things that they enjoyed watching the show. Just a lot of really cool stuff. We really appreciate it. We're just fans just like everybody else.
Right now, and when you're putting out quality content like this,
yeah,
I mean, dude, so anybody that's watching or listening, Scott's the one that is running the Twitter account for us, and he's doing a fantastic job. But I laughed really fucking hard when I saw this.
Dude, that guy went into hiding, and for good reason, because I think he may have gotten more hate in a 48-hour span than maybe even Trump did when he was still on Twitter. I mean, the dude was just there was someone took a screenshot of the trending topic for trending thing on Twitter, and it was like the top 5, and 3 of them were like hashtag Eli Apple Pack and hashtag Eli Apple sucks, and Hashtag Eli Apple burned. After the way the dude talked trash on Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman, said he was going to get him Super Bowl tickets and all that stuff. The way other teams are, yeah, Ash, good to see you there. Race car, appreciate that. Looking forward to doing, next season too. It'd be a lot of fun. I saw somewhere, man, like maybe the Vikings get Deshaun Watson. That'd be sick for the Vikings. That team would be dangerous, man. That team would be dangerous with Deshaun Watson. So he's a great player.
You just need to shut down all the massage parlors and the metro before they.
Right. But the whole Eli Apple.
Moving on.
No. I got like so much joy out of the Eli Apple just getting trashed online, and the dude was not saying nothing for like 3 days. His phone, like his notifications, just had to have been going crazy.
I just loved how all of the other NFL receivers just piled on too. Just like, dude, this is so deserved. Like, you brought this on yourself. Eli Apple gonna Eli Apple. Yeah.
One of the tweets that didn't get as much love as the Unsolved Mysteries one that I thought was pretty good was the Eli Apple won Super Bowl LVP, least valuable player. The guy, he just sucked and got torched and got burned, and that's just instant karma, right, for running your mouth and not winning with a little bit of class. But, yeah, everybody that watched it sent comments, everybody that liked our stuff, interacted with us on social media, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun. We're not done we're not, this isn't like the funeral for Chiefs Kingdom Live or anything like that. But
we got some off-season surprises and some shows in the works. It's just not going to be weekly.
Yeah, it just won't be a weekly thing. So we'll be back on there. If you haven't already, like we said at the beginning, like, subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate that.
We're almost to 100 subscribers.
What's that?
So we're almost to 100 subscribers.
Yeah, if we get to 100 subscribers, that'd be awesome. And I put like a Chiefs Kingdom poll out there. Like, I think it'd be fun to do a Chiefs Twitter like meetup somewhere in Kansas City. I know, Bo, unfortunately, you probably.
I'll come. Let me know. I'll come.
But I think it'd be fun just to meet up somewhere some night, and all these people that because it's almost like you. I don't want to say you see the same 3 people, but you see a lot of the same people, and you interact with them over Twitter, especially during the games and post games. It'd be cool to just meet everybody and go hang out and hit up a place like maybe like a Brass Rail or like a Dave & Buster's or something where you could shoot some pool, play some games, get to know one another, BS about the team. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So maybe we could set something like that up too. I think that'd be cool.
Only Scott would go on Twitter and say, these all seem like reasonable, nice people that I'd want to meet.
Well,
you guys all seem real.
I'm not inviting them over to my house. I'm just saying I'm having the part of the watch party here at home.
They showed up and it was just a bunch of Russian robots.
Yeah. So everybody that sent us good wishes and said they enjoyed the show and subscribed and liked and interacted with us, just a lot of fun. So if you haven't done already, click subscribe. Maybe you can be our 100th subscriber. We'll have some off-season content coming up. I'll let you guys, say a few words here since it's kind of like the season wrap up. Bo?
No, yeah, exactly. Thank you, everybody that's watched and subscribed. The fact that we almost have 1,000 Twitter followers is baffling to me. It doesn't make sense. Well done, Scott. That's big props to you and your humor there, man. You're a funny guy. I enjoy watching what you post on our Twitter account. It's been awesome doing this. It's been fun talking with both of you guys and catching up and getting to see Nick's daughters pretty much every week here before the show starts and everything. And I've just been a blast. I've loved what it's done for my fandom. You know what I mean? Just like get to pay attention that much more and then come and shoot the shit with you guys every week. It's just been so much fun. Really enjoy it. Like I said, this isn't our last show, so I've got some off-season shows planned. I haven't really even told you guys about it, but I got some ideas in the works, so we'll see you guys soon.
Right. Nick?
I mean, what can I say that you guys haven't already said? It's been a lot of fun. I really look forward to this every week. Even when we lose, it's good because I know that Scott's going to rant about something that's going to make me laugh. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I'm surprised with the response as well. So one of the things that we've talked about in our group text messages and stuff is we'll talk about things on here, and then like 2-3 weeks later, like you'll see it on some national media thing. I think we were talking about Joe Burrow being like the next Andrew Luck, right? And then like after the Super Bowl, it's like who's the dude that ran out of the back of the end zone? What's his name?
What's his name? I gave him so much shit earlier in the season.
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, Orlovsky.
Yeah,
Orlovsky's like, he's going to be the next Andrew Luck. And I'm like, you guys are about 3 weeks late. So, like, I know we're not as polished and as those guys, but it really just lends credence to the fact that, I feel like we have good takes and I feel like we have good content. I love when we have interaction from the people watching, even if we're just throwing up, the Russian bots on the screen with whatever they're saying. It makes it like an event, and it's something to look forward to. So, and Bo dropped out. There he is. Hey.
Yeah, no doubt. Been a lot of fun. Thanks again to everybody that liked, subscribed, joined us, sent in a comment, followed us on Twitter or whatever. We'll work on getting some stuff going, and maybe we can try and look at getting some maybe it's like some more professional stuff and some video for next season. So try to grow it, try to polish it, try to make it a little bit better. Anybody ever has any ideas or thoughts, shoot them our way on social media. That we'd really appreciate that as well. So I guess until this next episode, we just look forward to. This was like the motto of being a Chiefs fan for most of my life, right? It's like, just wait next year, man. Just wait next year. We're gonna get Ty Law and we're gonna get the defense fixed. And we got Kendrell Bell, baby, at linebacker, and we went out and Matt Castle was a Pro Bowler and he won 10 games and he 27-7 touchdown interception. Next year he's gonna go 35.
I think Damon.
We got Andy Reid.
We'll look forward to next season, and we'll try to bring you all some really good off-season content. And until then, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.